Welcome back to another episode of Quick Picks with the Geek. I am your host, Bro Power the Geek. All right, next up we've got Melissa Mullins versus Luana Carolina, a classic grappler versus striker matchup. One fighter wants this fight on the mat immediately, the other wants to keep things standing and make it a kickboxing match. Let's break it down. Melissa, no mess. Mullins, coming in as a plus 100 underdog with a record of 7-2. Melissa Mullins is one of those fighters where you look at her credentials and immediately think, yeah, let's not grapple with that person. She's a no-gi world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and not just winning in her weight class. She won double gold, which basically means she showed up and tapped everyone in the building, and that grappling pedigree shows in her MMA fights. Mullins' entire game revolves around closing distance, securing takedowns, and then turning the fight into a ground control clinic. Once she gets on top, she's extremely good at flattening opponents out and dropping heavy ground and pound. She's also physically very strong for the division. In clinch exchanges, she often just bullies opponents around the cage, which makes it easier for her to drag fights to the floor. And once she's there, things get uncomfortable quickly. Another thing that stands out with Mullins is her ability to finish from top position. Over half of her wins come by KO or TKO, but they usually don't happen because she knocked someone out cold with a punch on the feet. No, these finishes usually happen because she gets on top and starts introducing her opponent's skull to the canvas repeatedly, but there are definitely some weaknesses in her game. Her striking defense is still a work in progress. She absorbs more shots than she lands, and technical kickboxers have been able to touch her up on the feet. That was especially noticeable in her loss to Nora Cornell, where she struggled with the Muay Thai clinch and ended up getting stopped by a nasty body shot. And sometimes her fight IQ can be a little confusing. There have been fights where she clearly had the grappling advantage, and then decided to spend long stretches striking instead, which is like bringing a bazooka to a fight, and then choosing to throw rocks instead. Still, when Mullins sticks to her grappling game plan, she's extremely dangerous. Luana Dread Carolina, coming in as a minus 120 favorite with a record of 11-5. Luana Carolina is basically the stylistic opposite of Mullins. She's a Muay Thai striker who wants space, range, and as little grappling as possible. Standing at 5-7 with long reach for the division, she's very good at keeping opponents at distance with jabs, push kicks, and long combinations. She also throws a lot of volume, nearly 5 significant strikes per minute, which allows her to control rounds and keep a steady pace across 3 rounds. Another weapon in her arsenal is the Thai clinch. If opponents crash forward recklessly, Carolina is very comfortable tying them up and firing off knees and elbows, which can be extremely effective against fighters trying to close distance. She also has decent takedown defense overall. It's not perfect, but she's shown she can stay upright against average wrestlers and make them work hard for every attempt. But that's where things start getting tricky. Against strong grapplers, Carolina has struggled. When opponents can consistently pressure her, force her against the cage, and get the fight to the floor, her offense tends to disappear, and she ends up spending long stretches defending positions. And while she throws a lot of strikes, she doesn't always carry big finishing power. Many of her wins come by decision, which means she often has to win rounds rather than end fights early. She's also had moments of questionable fight IQ herself, including situations where she attempted takedowns in fights where she was clearly winning the striking exchanges, which is kind of like playing basketball and randomly deciding halfway through the game that you'd rather try hockey. Still, when she can keep fights standing and control distance, Carolina can be a very effective striker. So, who wins? If Mullins wins this fight, it probably means she successfully closes the distance, gets the fight to the mat, and turns it into a grappling-heavy battle. Her strength, BJJ pedigree, and ground control could create serious problems if Carolina can't stay upright. But if Carolina wins, the path is pretty clear. Keep the fight standing, use her reach and striking volume, and make Mullins pay every time she tries to enter range. This fight really comes down to control of distance. If Mullins gets her hands on Carolina, things could get very uncomfortable very quickly. But if Carolina keeps space and forces Mullins to strike, The technical striking advantage could start adding up over 3 rounds. Official pick, I'm going with Luana Carolina. I'm not super proud of this pick, but she's the cleaner striker in this matchup, and if she can keep the fight standing long enough, her range and volume should allow her to control the pace of the fight. Mullins is dangerous if she gets this to the ground, but Carolina's takedown defense and striking advantage could be enough to keep things on the feet where she has the edge. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss a beat when the next video drops. And don't be shy. Leave a comment below and let me know who you got winning this fight. Let's see who really has the crystal ball around here. Until next time.